Okay, so astrology time, and today is Friday, and it is the 7th of November. What do we got going on? Well, the moon's in Gemini. The falcon sat on a wire catching the rays from the setting sun. I could see the curve and the sharpness of the beak, right? The spotted plumage, the barred plumage near the tail, right? The legs and stuff like that. I thought spotted, but it's actually barred. Now, smaller than most of the hawks in the neighborhood, this bird had his gaze fixed on the east and northeast, in a direction over there, in that setting sunlight. Now, I observed it from directly below as I drove under it as it sat on the wire, and could just see every detail of the head, the hood, the legs, the belly, the short stature of the bird, right? Now, the message is beginning to crystallize in my intuitive mind of what that meant. This was a couple days ago that this happened. Venus joins Haumea in squaring up with Pluto today. We have a focused moon in Gemini. What does this mean, right? Well, astrologically, it means that we're going to be mentally agile, be able to do the things, have very wide-ranging and diverse conversations, and just about be able to use our words to convince convincingly. However, we do have Mercury beginning to slow down. So this actually intensifies that thought process, that logical process in those words, to the point where, what should we be doing? Okay, now, there's a ridiculous amount of stuff going on. Women have struggled far too long to let all oligarchs and their puppets turn back the clock, all right? Venus is that symbol of women, of womanhood, of femininity, for lack of a better word, the divine female, where the sun is actually at next to Black Moon Lilith. Venus is conjunct with Haumea. Haumea is the fertility goddess, a Hawaiian fertility goddess that gave birth to the islands from parts of her body. She created the population of Hawaii, right? She's a nurturer. She interfaces with the islanders to help keep those islands populated in the myth, of course. Now, what's the direct correlation to us? Well, we have this new ground that Mars first chanced upon back in, say, September, right? September. What do we got? Well, look, the message that this focused moon in Gemini has is that we're going to resolve things swiftly. That's that falcon, right? That falcon was a peregrine falcon, fastest bird as far as flight's concerned, with precision and a rising air of authority. Rise now. The hunt is underway, and we have a powerful symbol for this next most vital phase. And the key word is falcon. The color is sunset yellow on barred leg feathers. Let's go way back, okay? Isis confronts the Lord of the Underworld, Anubis, to claim Horus from that realm. Okay, body parts scattered in baskets around the Nile and stuff like that. It's quite an involved myth. They always involve a journey. It's it's one of those journeys. Now, Venus, also, very close to Isis in those myths, is square Pluto. Pluto, Hades, Lord of the Undead. Venus is the last planet to enter the ground that Haumea has brought forth. Okay, so what are we going to do? This is a mythic journey to restore something that was lost. First, identify what has been taken away from us. Personally, right? This doesn't mean in any particular context. This means what has been taken away from you. Identify it. The discovery of this asks us to understand the process of how it was lost. It is then up to us to complete the journey. What must be done to complete this cycle? Now, I had the Venus, Cookies for Venus episode yesterday. Venus got the cookie yesterday. And in return, she gives us the falcon as a guide and a source for inspiration. Intuitively, I'm thinking not about Mercury's coming retrograde, but the next petal of Venus that's going to develop. When does it develop? October 3rd, 2026, when Venus returns to Scorpio and we'll go back into Libra. So it's like Groundhog Day kind of all over again. So think about that. Think about where you're at right now and think about how it's going to intensify and get even more beautiful and bring you bigger returns coming up towards the end of next year. Whoa. All right, so facts can be very off-putting at times. We need to understand that Mercury retrograde may confuse, obfuscate, and frazzle communication. It can. Uranus has left Gemini, where it was causing all sorts of problems in that sign, for Taurus. Oh, now we get Taurus problems, right? Changes in monetary compensation are highlighted. Cryptocurrencies, they've been taking a beating. Well, they might have a chance to do a little bit of springing back. Now, think about this, though, okay? This will cause seismic ripples in our Taurus things, right? That's what that is, those compensation being highlighted. Currency's taking a beating. Look, as this begins to turn and happen, now that Uranus is Taurus, as always, I urge caution, okay? Be careful. Only invest what you're willing to lose, particularly in crypto, because that game is stacked, okay? So, and it's not in our favor. Now, as always, look, I urge caution. Mercury retrograde doesn't halt progress. However, what it does do, it asks us to be thorough in our explanations, in our investigations, particularly because it's going back into Scorpio, and demands patience, persistence, Saturn stuff, right? And to accept temporary setbacks and delays, only because, it's retrograde. We're reviewing some of the things that have worked for us and some of the things that may not have worked for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Lilith. That point, right? It will come back to the sun, back to Lilith, the black moon Lilith, and be able to reformulate what it is that we want to do, how we want to set ourselves apart, how we want to move forward successfully and complete this journey that the falcon, this image of the falcon, is going to set us on. That's how this intuitive stuff works, right? Now, look, this causes one cycle that Mercury retrograde, right? Another oncoming cycle to help tee up the Sagittarius season and beyond. Now, what if what we're seeking is no myth? Okay, what if what we're seeking isn't really just a myth? It's Friday night. The moon is in Gemini. The language of love tonight is conversation. There's a lot in there. So, in 1492, the Ensisheim meteorite strikes a wheat field near the village of Ensisheim in Alsace, France. Alsace. Now, it's the oldest meteorite that we know of that has a known date of impact. That's important. Now, our birth is Marie Curie. She's born in 1867. She died in 1934. She is a Polish-French scientist who discovered radium and is the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. And she had the distinction of doing that twice, 1903 and 1911. Born in Warsaw, Poland. That's all I have for you. Let's sum it up. Our keyword today is falcon, and the color is sunset yellow on barred leg feathers. That's all I have for you, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for letting me take a flight of fancy with my falconry. Yeah. Okay, so put my arm up like I'm going to have a falcon come land on it for a dramatic effect, right? Yeah, my falconry. Anyway, today, very difficult to understand some of this imagery and stuff like that, is a 6. Keep on the course you're on, though. You're doing great. Happy astrocatting.